this topic. So I'm going to start with probably the most basic facts today. Facts that are pretty well known, and video for video I'm going to work my way up to the lesser known facts, and probably you could say insider knowledge, things you probably only know if you live in Austria. So yeah, this is the first part in this little series, and I do hope that these fact videos are going to be a little bit shorter than my usual videos, as I'm trying to diversify my content and do shorter videos. I do think that these long videos are nice, but I do want to have shorter ones too. Alright, let's leave the random talk for the end of the video, and let's get started. I've written them down on my phone, so I'm going to read them off my phone. The thing is, I've written them down in German, so I'm going to translate them in my head into English, and then I'm going to tell you and probably explain a little bit further. Yeah, the first fact is about the geography of Austria. So, Austria is obviously located in Middle Europe, and it's part of the Alps. So, like, if I remember correctly, parts of mostly France and Switzerland and Austria are part of the Alps. And I'm not sure if the peaks in Germany, mostly Bavaria and northern Italy, do also count as the Alps, but yeah, mostly France, Switzerland and Austria are mostly known for the Alps. I've actually got to check this, if Italy and Germany are considered to be part of the Alps, but 60% of Austria are mountainous areas. So like more than half of Austria is just mountains, which is actually crazy if you think about it. So Austria is not a big country, and more than half of it is mountain area, which results in large areas that aren't really usable as like areas to live or to grow crops and so on. Alright, going to the second fact. Second fact is the capital city of Austria, and it's Vienna. Vienna is an interesting city because it was once part of Lower Austria, and over I don't know how many years ago it became its own federal state, but is still in Lower Austria, so it's surrounded by another federal state. I do think it's the same with Berlin, but Vienna was once part of Lower Austria and the capital of the federal state of Lower Austria too, but the new capital of Lower Austria is St. Pölten. And it's probably one of the most underwhelming cities on the list of federal capital cities in Austria. Vienna has around 2 million people and is located around the Danube. So you would call it Donau in German. And it's well known Austrian Brunnen, or like the flag towers. The flag towers were never torn down like in Hamburg or in Berlin. They are no longer flag towers, but there are 6 of them, but there are 3 pairs, so 2 flag towers are 3 pairs of flag towers equals 6 towers, and 2 pairs are actually in use, and 1 pair is unused, I think, and in one particular flag tower there is the Haus des Meeres, so like in English it would be the House of the Sea, which is, pretty, in my opinion, a bit of a dumb name, but it's pretty much descriptive of what it is, at least in German, where it's like an indoor zoo for exotic, amphibious, and reptilian animals. Still another thing about Vienna to know. Vienna is historically and still today a quite multicultural city, as it was the main city of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So there was the residence of the emperor or the emperors, like the Habsburgers, and actually I do believe the Bambergers also resided in Vienna. But more relevant are the Habsburg family. Alright, fact number 3. Austria has about 9 million people, and actually in my childhood, like 10-15 years ago, it was considered to be about 8 million, so we've grown about 1 million people in like about 10-12 years, I'd say. And sometimes I forget that we had so much growth and still think about 8 million people when it's in reality 9 million people. Austria was always like an immigrant country, and that is founded in its historical nature. So the demography in Austria is quite interesting. But there were some bad years in the last century, if you will. Let's not talk about those and probably get to the next fact. Fact number 4 is official language is German. Who would have guessed? But there are the second official language is it actually English? There are a few official languages, but the thing is, you probably still need to speak German if you want to live here, or if you want to live here comfortably. Most government run facilities and most government services would officially accept or communicate in other languages, but the reality is it's mostly German. So maybe you're finding a few people working there that can speak English in a decent way, but it's probably quite rare. So the younger Austrians are probably quite good at English, at speaking English, but the older Austrians are probably not able to communicate effectively in English. Yeah, one thing about the language is, as there are 9 federal states, there are pretty much 9 different dialects in Austria, and the most well-known dialect is probably the Viennese dialect. I have to admit, they have, even for Austrian people, they have their own way of talking, like the old Viennese people or real Viennese people. They have not a rude, but not a friendly way of putting things. It's quite hard to describe. You can listen to them and think, oh, okay, sounds friendly, but actually they mean it in a little bit of a charming, rude way. If you speak German, you'll probably understand after listening to a real Viennese for a while. It's hard to explain, but I do think in other countries there are probably people that are similar as well. Fact number 5. Austria has adopted the euro in 2002, so like 6 years after Austria joined the European Union, and until 2002 the official currency was the shilling, and most older Austrians still are thinking in shilling. So if you tell them, oh, thing X is worth about X euros, they trying to calculate what it would have been in shilling, and I find it quite funny because I do get that these older Austrians who lived with the shilling need a reference point, but you can't compare shilling and euros. There is too much of a difference there, and the situation, the economic situation in Austria before and after the European Union are quite different. And actually, I find it quite interesting that Austria has abandoned the shilling. If you have some, you can still get them changed into euros, but other neighboring countries still have their own currency and the euro as well. So if you look into the Czech Republic, they have, in German it's Kronen, I do think, and Hungary has forint. I do know the approximate ratio of forint to euros. It's about 300 forint for 1 euro. So yeah, I don't actually know why some of the countries in the European Union decided to have their own currency and the euro as well, but actually I don't have very good economic knowledge, so yeah, probably better to not think about it. Alright, fact number 6. You probably guessed the fact, but Austria is well known for classical music and historical buildings and museums and all classical, there are some musicians you've probably heard. It's first, of course, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and I also found Franz Schubert and Johann Strauss. So if you listen to classical music, you probably know these names. Actually, I'm not 100% sure if it was either Schubert or Strauss are like real born Germans. So like, I'm not sure they, all three of them lived in Austria, that's true, but I do think it was Franz Schubert who was born in Germany and later lived in Austria. Actually, if you want to go a bit further, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart wasn't technically Austrian, as at the time he was born in Salzburg, which is today a federal state of Austria, was like not part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It was like, how would you say it? It was like its own thing, so it was like its own little kingdom and not part of Germany or Austria, so it was its own little kingdom and more associated with Germany than Austro-Hungary, I do think, but yeah, that's some technicalities. Yeah, Salzburg is today part of Austria, and that's why he's considered Austrian, and he later worked and lived and died in Vienna. Alright, let's get to fact number 7 about Austrian cuisine. So, you probably know Wiener Schnitzel, which is not an Austrian, the Schnitzel is not a real Austrian invention, but the thing why it's famous is because there are some rules to Wiener Schnitzel. So like there is a special way to prepare a Wiener Schnitzel, and that's why it's famous. Not because they've invented the Schnitzel, but because they invented the particular way of preparing a Wiener Schnitzel. Another thing which Austria is famous for is Sachertorte, which is like a chocolate cake with a little bit of jam in it. And if you're in Austria, particularly in the Hotel Sacher, you've got to try it. It's really good. And they, in Hotel Sacher, like the hotel which the founder was Mr. Sacher, he invented the Sachertorte for some particular event, and I do think it was the emperor had had a long day. My voice is kind of cracking up. I hope it's better from now on. Yeah, Sachertorte has a nice little story behind it, but I forgot probably more than half of it. It's not that important. Another thing is Apfelstrudel, which is like a strudel with apples. Yeah, if you've seen Inglourious Basterds, you probably know what type of dish or dessert. Actually, dessert is a strudel. Kaffeehauskultur, like what do you call it in English? Vienna is actually famous for its cafes. Is it cafe in English? I do think so. There is like a certain culture to Viennese cafes, and they are not only famous for their coffee, but also for things like what's it called in English? Croissant and so on. You'd think that was invented somewhere else, but the way you know it was developed in Vienna. So like croissant is croissant in its most basic form, as far as I know, wasn't invented in Vienna, but improved upon, so that the Viennese version of this thing, of croissant and so on, like Wiener Schnitzel, got famous. I hope you don't hear my eating in the background too much. I don't know what's going on. Normally it is silent, but yeah. Not sure what's going on. I hope the background noise isn't too distracting. I hope I can edit it out. Yeah, classical Monday today, as it seems. But yeah, maybe I'll touch upon that later. Number 8, Austria is a democratic republic, and we have 9 federal states, which is actually a bit interesting if you know that Austria isn't all too big. So, in my opinion, we don't need 9 different federal states. But to complete this fact, let's list them all and also say their capital city. So, first one is Vienna, which is the federal state and the city. So it's both. Lower Austria has St. Pölten as its capital. Then there is Upper Austria, which has Linz. We have Salzburg, which there is Salzburg City, if you will. We have Steiermark or Styria with Graz. Das Burgenland has Burgenland an English name. Probably, but I've forgotten most of the English names for Austrian federal states. But the Burgenland has Eisenstadt, which you could roughly translate to Iron City, but doesn't make much sense to do that. We have Kärnten or Carinthia, I don't know, with talked too much and lost it. Klagenfurt, it was Klagenfurt, sorry. Then we have Tyrol, oder Tirol in Deutsch, Tirol in German, Tyrol in English, and in Tyrol it was Innsbruck. It was Innsbruck. Vorarlberg has Bregenz, and that was all. Let's recapitulate. Vienna, Lower Austria, Upper Austria, Salzburg, Steiermark, Burgenland, Kärnten, Tirol, Vorarlberg, all 9 of them. One unity, but they are like an autonomous region in Italy, so they are like governing themselves, but they are part of Italy after World War One or World War Two? Not sure about it. I need to get my Austrian historic facts straight. Need to do more research and like refresh my Austrian historic knowledge. All right. Number 9 is Austria is mostly a tourist country, so it's quite reliant upon tourism, and most of the most well-known tourist attractions are like all these cities and regions known for winter sport like skiing and snowboarding, and then most probably, maybe Linz and Vienna. So like, and Salzburg, of course. So like, the capital of the cities are like popular destinations, and other than that, there isn't too much going on. Like, Upper Austria and Salzburg are popular for their lakes. There are like Wolfgangsee and Mondsee, which are quite nice to stay in the hotels around that. But actually, I feel like it's mostly Austrians staying there. So like internationally, it's probably Tyrol that is most popular for all these winter sports, and Vienna the whole year because of the city itself. Number 10 is the national flag of Austria is 3 stripes, red, white, and red again. It's oftentimes it is what's verwechseln. Some people falsely believe that the Austrian flag and the Latvian flag are the same, because 3 stripes, red, white and red, but the Latvian flag, I do think it was the Latvian flag, is a darker shade of red, so the red of the Austrian flag is quite a bit brighter than the Latvian flag. In my childhood, in elementary school, I was told there was a certain story surrounding the national flag, that it was these 3 stripes, red, white and red, were like chosen to be the national flag because some emperor had a brutal fight and he was bleeding, and when he came back he took off his armor and some kind of belt, and there was bloody red stripe. There was one white stripe where there was no blood, and some kind of confusing story. But as I've gotten older, I could research it a bit more, and turns out it's just some legend, some Austrians, it's like a urban myth that isn't based in reality. So the real reason, I don't know. There are some stories about it. Maybe I can dig deeper and find out. But yeah, the story I wanted to tell you turned out to be BS, if you will. Alright, that concludes our 10 facts about Austria for today. There are a few more to come. I've prepared 10 facts for another video. As I said, I want to make a little series out of this, and let's see where it goes. Yeah, some things in my own interests. I know I said I'd try to pre-produce some videos, but yeah, it's almost Christmas and I've been stressed out lately. I've got a lot of things going on, and I do hope that I get some rest and free time to do a few videos to be ahead of time, ahead of schedule, and got some, if you will, backup videos or enough videos to upload when I don't have enough time. I do want to keep one video per week at least, but yeah, I'd prefer it to be 2 videos a week. But yeah, let's see how it's going. And I'm going to keep 1 video in English and 1 video in German. My last video is performing incredibly well, and I want to say thank you to all who watched it. Yeah, and if you enjoyed this video, I'm happy if you'd leave a like or subscribe to this channel and even leave a comment. I got a few comments in German on the last few videos. But maybe if you have some ideas for further videos, that is appreciated too. Alright, I think it's time to wrap it up. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I hope you found some relaxation. Yeah. I'm going to say goodbye for today, and I'll see you next time.